Holy smokes, Batman.
Holy shit on my dick, Batman.
Did you just say that way too early in the pod? Or?
It doesn't really matter,
Holy
does
need
it?
a douche, Batman.
I guess it doesn't.
Holy need a douche, Batman?
He needs to douche if he's shitting on your dick.
Ooh, yeah.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, now that's too early for in the podcast.
We're a late night show.
Yeah, that was a tough one for sure. We post at noon. Anyway, guys, Robert Pattinson's Batman is fastly approaching. I just wanted to mention that at the top. We need to talk about that as well.
I know. But we also need to say who we are and what we do.
Well, we can try.
We can attempt.
We can try.
I'm Franny.
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's CL.
Hey guys, it's CL. / Cody.
Twitter.com.
No, it's I'm Logan. What's up? I play Pokemon. Well, actually, I kind of don't. Well, I kind of do. I play Pokemon on the internet, sort of.
Same.
Check out that channel, linked in the description. Sorry. Anyway.
Team Hyperfang.
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff. We play Nuzlocke, but that's not what we're talking about. Right now, we're talking about the Caped Crusader.
Yeah. This podcast is about TV, so we're going to talk about
The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight. The Batman.
The Batman.
The movie.
The TV. The guy.
The guy on the TV with the huge wang.
The Bat. That's also a man.
Wait, what?
But no, guys, so obviously the most anticipated movie right now is The Batman, old R-Pats, coming out, what is it, March 4th, March 3rd?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. I think
obviously, we are going to talk about that movie on this channel. And it's either that or our Oscar stuff is going to be the first thing we talk about. Not sure which one yet. But movies are coming to the channel, guys. And we're going to talk about Batman.
And what else is coming to the channel?
Video.
Fuck yeah.
Video? No.
Yes, we're going to start doing video. People keep asking for it. I don't know why they want to look at me. I don't want to look at me. But if they want to look at me, fine. They can look at me as long as they do it. As long as you look at me.
And only you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine with me, honestly. Just pretend I'm not there.
So do you think we're going to leave the dogs out still and they're just going to be fucking shit up in the room while we're recording? Or?
I mean...
Because I think people might live for that.
Do you feel like... I mean, they have such big personalities. We can't take them away from the podcast.
Yeah, and they've interfered with so many podcasts in the past.
And they're pretty cute. If they show up on a video, I don't think people would be appalled.
We get canceled for having dogs on a podcast.
I mean, Dwight's pretty gross.
Oh, buddy. No, he's not. Stop with the fake rumors, okay?
Oh.
You're ruining his self-esteem.
What if Dwight gets in like internet beef?
He is in internet beef.
Who?
I don't know. He could be on some. He could end up in a drama alert. Fucking YouTube battle.
Yeah, he has controversial OnlyFans or something.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's got some strange takes.
I'm just imagining like a bugged out Dwight in the background of Philip DeFranco going.
Definitely.
But yeah, Batman
reports on him. You know, it's a whole thing.
Yeah,
anyway,
definitely.
Sorry, we're going off on a total tangent here, but I figured since either the Batman or the Oscar stuff, whichever one. Jesus Christ. Speaking of the dogs, he just literally knocked the microphone completely away from Franny. Anyway,
he's threatening to sneeze on it too. I keep having to stop him.
But the point is, Batman's a big deal.
The
point is, the Batman's a big deal, and we're definitely going to be talking about it at some point. It's probably my most anticipated movie of the year, just because.
Oh, really?
I mean, well, it's been 10 years since a solo Batman film. So it's been a decade. Even though the Batman's been in the zeitgeist like this whole time, the last time it was a solo Batman film was The Dark Knight Rises. So it's a lot of anticipation to return to a Batman story, see how he carries a movie, and also the take that Matt Reeves is putting on the character with making it a noir, comparing it to Gone Girl and stuff like that. David Fincher. I'm fucking psyched for it. And I love Art Pats. And I love everybody they cast for it. So I'm hoping that it's really good.
think it's gonna be. Little Caesars has a Batman pizza right now.
A Batman calzone.
Yeah, a Batman calzone.
A bat calzone, I think that's what it's called.
Oh.
It's crazy, and a lot of the things about this movie is in like the UK, it basically got a rated R, or actually what would be considered R NC-17.
Really?
Yeah, only adults can see the film.
Okay. That's pretty crazy for a Batman.
And this Batman's PG-13 in the US. Mm-hmm.
I wonder why.
I think there's a huge debate on what it's going to end up being. I definitely think it's going to be a Scorsese-like crime story.
Yeah.
And I think what's really happening is it probably ranges more in the R section. But because it's Batman and it's the United States and they want to sell the shit out of this movie, they made it a PG-13. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I feel like it might help it that it has like a more mature rating.
It's gonna kill the UK box office during the worst box office years in history.
Damn.
It might kill the European film market a little bit.
Wow, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Was the actual Dark Knight movie that was like what, 2009?
2008, 2009, something like that.
Was that a PG-13 too? Or?
Yes, PG-13. Every Batman film has been PG-13 aside from Joker.
Okay, which rightfully so.
Yeah, Joker earned its R rating for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, or like basically they have it's an NC-17, but in Europe it's basically an NC-15. So like a 15-year-old can see with parental guidance, but someone younger than that, so like a 10-year-old who wants to see Batman, you can't see in the movie theater.
Huh.
And they're selling Lego sets of Batman, so it's like...
Yeah, that's a little
It's weird you're selling Lego sets to a kid who can't see your movie about the movie.
Well, that's like Deadpool.
No, they didn't sell Lego sets for Deadpool. Didn't? Fuck no.
Oh,
well, they did, me? But it's not like
it's not catered to kids. It's not like a kid's Lego set. We're talking about like the Deadpool one was like a model, like for adults. I'm talking about like a child set for $3.99 is related to this Batman movie.
Weird.
Or just all the action figures that are coming out.
Yeah.
All these like $9 Fisher Price, whatever fucking action figures. Those are all like catered towards kids to a movie they can't even see. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty insane.
Yeah. But anyway, we're talking about Batman.
Batman.
And I think that since this is like the newest, like the one that's coming out is the newest live action iteration for like, it's seriously been 10 years for a solo Batman, which is crazy. I thought we should start with the first live action interpretation long form of the character. Batman 66, baby.
Oh yeah.
Would you mind reading the Wikipedia for Batman 66, Cody?
No. Okay. Batman is a 1960s American live-action television series based on the DC comic book of the character of the same name. It stars Adam West as Bruce Wayne and Burt Ward as Dick Grayson, Robin, two crime-fighting heroes who defend Gotham City from a variety of arch-villains. It's known for its camp style, upbeat theme music, and its intentionally humorous, simplistic morality aimed at largely a teenage audience. This included championing the importance of using seatbelts, doing homework, eating your vegetables, and drinking milk. It aired 120 episodes through ABC from January 1966 to March 1968. Had a feature film that went along with it in between seasons 1 and 2. It's a classic.
Yeah, I mean, this Batman iteration is so classic. It's become its own canon in DC Comics, as well as its own iteration of the character known as Batman 66, or among smaller circles, people call it the smiley face Batman or the Bill Dozier Batman, because that's executive producer Bill Dozier who put the show together. And that character has become its own comic book character in its own right. Like, Batman 66 issues sell to a completely different audience than the people who are fans of modern day Batman. And it really connects back to how huge this show was back in the day, how it was like a really popular show for like kids right after school, and how long it was syndicated for after it even aired. I mean, it was showing all throughout the 70s, the 80s, the 90s.
Yeah.
Both me and Logan's parents were born in the 60s, and they both watched the show.
Yeah, they both
growing
watched
up.
the show.
Oh, that's cute.
Is this both you guys' first times like interacting with this Batman?
Yes.
What were your initial thoughts?
It's insane. It's such a different take on Batman.
Yeah.
He's just a little goober in this one, you know?
Just a goober?
Yeah.
He's a bit of a silly
he's,
Billy.
He's way less serious.
You know, I think that it's true that this is like the most like satirical, like kind of jokey Batman, and it's inspired so much since. I mean, you have what was it, Merman and Barnacle Boy, or Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy? They're clearly Adam West and Burt Ward, like, you know, post the TV show, like in their elderly folks' homes, like they were at the time that they made that show.
Yeah.
There's tons of like references to the show, the Biff, the Pow, I mean, how many like Batman memes were made completely out of this show? Like it totally is off. Like, you can say it's terrible, but it goes for any laugh that it possibly can, just relentlessly. Like, even like to the point where you wish they wouldn't have made the joke, but they still do. Like, at one point in this 2-part pilot, Batman drops a woman into a nuclear reactor, and he goes, "What a bad way to go."
Yeah, and just the whole go-go dancing scene too.
Oh, when Batman goes to the club and dances with go-go dancers and gets high on drugs.
Yeah. Took some Molly or something.
The Batman special, orange juice.
Orange juice.
I love that Batman's a total fucking weenie who's like has a regular at a bar and it's orange juice.
It's just like one roofie and he's out. It's like, come on, you're Batman.
And the goofy.
He's like, it's like Batman. What? Holy barnacles, Batman! Why did you fall down in there? And he's like, oh, they put an Adderall in my drink. Like, just like the smallest drug. Like, they had an aspirin in my orange juice. Like, he's such a fucking weenie.
Should we go over the plot of the pilot?
Yeah, we can go over the plot of the pilot. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
The pilot called High Diddle Riddle.
And then what was the second part called?
I don't know. I need to look that up.
Maybe it's still like High Diddle Riddle Part 2 or something. But I love the cliffhanger in between the 2-parter. Like, I love it. But had like the yellow text popping up on the screen. The worst is yet to come. Like, what is this?
It's a High Diddle Riddle, and then it's smack in the middle is the second part.
Oh my god.
January 12th, 1966, and January 13th, 1966 is when they aired.
Mm-hmm. Back to back.
Interesting.
So.
Yeah, I guess they aired like two a week.
Mm-hmm.
Was standard, which is crazy.
Yeah, I know. Like, they only have 3 seasons, but that produced a lot of content.
120 episodes in 3 seasons. Like, that's a lot.
That's a lot. I mean, they ran nearly like a soap opera at that point. Like, there was so much content being made.
The dark nights of our lives.
That's what they should have called this.
Yeah, 100%. I want to know what Franny's thoughts. Like, this is like what I've been waiting for. Is just her interpretation of the 1966 Batman.
I really like Robin shorts.
I love how Burt Ward like they're trying to make you believe he's a teenager and he's like clearly like a 40-year-old looking man.
It's such 100%. It also feels like a gay porn. Like, it feels like at any moment.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. The show had a bit of controversy. I thought you guys might want to know about.
Oh, definitely.
So there was such a backlash from him wearing those tights that the Catholic League of Decency, which is basically like a Catholic cabal of like ridiculous reactionary like Catholics, basically being like, don't make TV gay. That's basically what they do. They said that they referred to Batman as a secret bastion of the homosexual underworld.
I mean, yeah.
And gave it the worst rating it possibly could, which only 3 other programs had, an A4, only for adults with reservations, which basically meant by Catholics was unwatchable and deemed sinful.
Wow.
And so because of that, and because of that article came out, Adam West is such a little badass that he then took a towel on the next episode and shoved it in his little underwear to make his schlong look even bigger. Because their main complaint was about their penises.
Wow.
I mean, there's a lot of dickage.
What a king, though, right?
Yeah.
I didn't notice it. I'm being completely honest.
I felt like it was,
There's
especially
a lot.
for nowadays, though, it's pretty conservative.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they have shorts, but they're very much like grandpa panties, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Grandpa
I don't
panties,
feel like
yeah.
I don't feel like they're that like revealing, but I guess for the time, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, 1966, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, okay,
I
so
definitely. No, go ahead.
let's go ahead and talk. Go ahead and get your part out first, because I was gonna say we should talk about the pilot a little bit.
No, talk about the pilot. I'll get into it. It's going to be a deep dive, so go on.
Okay, is it Robert Gershwin? Who played the Riddler? Okay, I just want to talk about an aspect of Batman 66, actually. Once they cast the villain, they would always have the villain actor reoccur.
Frank Gorshin.
So, like, these actors, they're all the first live screen, for the most part, the first live screen adaptations of these characters. So that episode we watched, that's the first live action iteration of the Riddler. And honestly, like, for the time, I really don't think he was that bad. Like, he gave it 110%, dude.
He gave it his all.
And he was wearing a duct tape belt. And he gave it his all.
His back must be fucking aching.
Turn your microphone a little bit.
Sorry.
Yeah,
but he was crouched down the whole time.
Yeah, he was walking around like a gremlin the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And, he played it pretty big for what the Riddler was from the comics. But at the same time, we have to think about the comics in the 60s. Because that's when the show was, too. So, really, like, people say it's campy and, like, disrupts what Batman is. But they should also consider that it was based on the comics pre-66.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Of course they're going to be campy and
like
bigger.
they weren't this campy. They were a little bit more serious. And they tried to do that with Adam West constantly bringing up how his parents are dead.
Oh my God. I was going to say, you should make a drinking game where every time he brings up his parents are dead, take a shot.
He's literally like Lego Batman, like, no parents. You know?
Yeah.
Is he not, though? Every chance he gets, he's like, as my parents were savagely murdered. And like he was around business partners who were like, what's that, Adam? Or what's that, Bruce?
Yeah.
What was that, Bruce? And he's like, nothing. I have to go answer my bad phone. My telephone.
Reminds me of somebody I know.
Who?
I can't say on the internet. You know who I'm talking about.
Anyway, moving on.
Anywho.
The other thing I'll say that he mentioned a lot.
Yikes! That was a pretty yikes reference. Anyway, I just got it. That was yikes.
You just got it.
Yeah.
I was hoping you'd get it right away, laugh, and then we could quickly move on.
Well, that's a far jump, a farther jump than maybe even that person would take, but maybe not. Anyway, what was I saying?
What I was going to say was the other thing that you could make a drinking game out of is whenever he says, oh, me and Robin on like a fishing trip.
It feels like a euphemism.
Or actually, anytime Robin says holy blah, 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 which is said in the show 378 times.
You would die.
What?
Somebody would die.
By the end of Batman 66, Burt Ward, Robin says it 378 times.
Wow. That's a lot.
Sure, like saying Batman's name.
It means that he said it more. Like he said it multiple times per episode.
So yeah, that could get you in a lot of trouble doing a drinking.
I'm just saying that's one that could
guys,
very effectively
let us know
work.
in the comments what drinking game you use when you watch this pilot.
Is it just when it starts you begin to drink? Because this show's not very good unless you're fucked up.
Yeah, you gotta elevate it on your own.
Well, it's like got this fun campness to it. Like it has like that older Brady Bunch thing to it, where it's like very dramatic swells of music before a fade out to a commercial break, and all that stuff's really charming. But I think Batman, I think that this is just like a couple of adults really wilding out.
Yeah,
that's the best thing you could say about it. Other than the fact that like it's iconic in it, like some of its cleverness, but Definitely not the Batman that I enjoy the most. But I get why people love it.
I enjoy that Batman's biggest fear is a lawsuit. I feel like we can all relate to that in our current climate.
Franny was like, but wait, Franny like took it so seriously, like, because she's used to watching normal Batman. She was like, wait, hasn't he done other crimes? Why would he take him to court? I'm like, Franny, it's a comedy show from the 60s. They're not really concerned with making a lot of sense.
Yeah, I was like, how does the Riddler just get to be the good guy now? Hasn't he done America. Bad things?
Oh, what'd you guys think of the mask? The Robin mask moment. What'd you guys think of that?
Horrible.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Cody, you watched part 1 and part 2, right? Or just part 1?
I watched, I think, both. Yeah.
Okay, do you know what we're talking about when we say the mask thing? Because there's 2 mask moments, and I want to make sure that we're talking about the same one.
Okay, which one are you talking about?
I'm talking about with Robin, where it's like the girl is like the fucking girl standing there, and then she puts on her Robin mask and is suddenly just Burt Ward with a woman dubbing over his fucking voice.
What?
So you didn't watch part 2?
Oh, yeah. No, I missed that.
No, dude, it's the whole like final act of part 2, so you must have not watched part 2, but thought you did.
Damn it. Okay. Well, rip.
Well, it's insane.
Well, it was pretty insane. It's pretty wild. That's all I have to say about it. Really, is that all of a sudden Robin and then Burt Ward plays Robin like a woman.
Yeah, and he pretends like he can't talk, but somehow
he like
Batman
frolics places and like acts sexy in front of the Riddler.
And somehow Batman knew the whole time because he saw one imperfection.
Yeah, one imperfection in her mask made by the straws he used to like help them breathe.
Yeah.
And then she fell into a reactor and he said, what a bad way to go.
Okay, I remember that, but maybe it's just like I've known that from how iconic it is. I don't know. I do remember that though. Weird.
Dude.
Weird.
Maybe you just like blacked it out because it's so fucking awful.
Maybe you were falling asleep while you're watching it. Plenty of options.
Valid. That's kind of valid. My favorite thing was you were talking about this earlier, how they're trying to make Burt Ward a teenager by any means possible.
Yes.
Line that it rocked my shit. And it was literally Batman going like, "Oh, I'm sure you were distracted by the teenage girl that like was at the mall who said hi to you or whatever."
I know.
And he's like, "Oh, stop it!" And I was just like, "What the fuck am I watching?"
Dude, my favorite like forced teenage moment, amongst like the many others, but this one's my favorite when Robin wasn't allowed to come in the club with him. So he had to sit outside and like be parked, and he's like he's underage, and he's like, it's the law. I'm like, Batman, you were such a pussy. Bring Robin in there.
That was me when I was like 18 and 19, and all of my friends were like fake IDs and sneaking into bars, and I would just like sit in the car and be like, I'm the good kid.
God,
I hate that.
Yeah, I was that person.
You need to live a little.
You know, that's all I got.
They're only like 12 years apart. Like they don't even look that like. He just looks too old to play a teenager.
Yeah, he looks old as shit. He looks like someone who might be even retired. Even like he looks old. He looks like an old man. And then there's episodes. There's episodes later in the school, like when he's at the school and stuff, where he's like in a gym class and he looks like a full-grown adult hanging out with children in a gym class. It's really weird.
Yikes! Does he wear those shorts?
Yes.
That sounds like.
But they're red.
That sounds
like
he should be called out for that. Like.
Well, they did. Well, the Catholic League did call him out.
Oh yeah, I guess they did.
But I like to think about just with this show. It's crazy that these were the first iterations of these live action characters. Like Cesar Romero, who played the Joker, the very first Joker ever. He only saw one other person play the Joker, and it was Jack Nicholson. And it was like right before he died. And he said Jack Nicholson's take on the character was too dark and that Batman's not about any serious tension and is a children's show.
Batman is about so much.
The role of the Joker went on to win 2 different actors Oscars. Like 2 different people have won for playing the Joker.
Yeah.
So clearly Cesar Romero, the guy who wouldn't even shave his mustache for the role and they just painted over it, didn't understand the like reality of the seriousness of the role he was playing. And like his legacy meant nothing to him. Isn't that crazy to think about? Like there's other people who were like in that Batman show that understand like, wow, we were in something really big before it turned into the biggest thing ever. But like Cesar Romero never got that. And he was like the most iconic character.
Did he do a bad job at it?
No, he was incredible as the Joker for the period and for everything, but just like little things, like he didn't like to talk about the show. He never said like kind things about the show.
Wow.
And then he wouldn't shave his mustache, so that he had a clearly painted white mustache.
That's so lazy. Like, put in some effort.
Like, dude, you're in one of the most significant roles of the future. Like if you secure playing the Joker, you are officially relevant.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. It's just wild to think about.
It's weird to know that these are like the fledgling beginning of what this franchise will become in the future. Like, it's crazy to imagine that like these two guys in tights will become like fucking Oscar worthy. Like that's insane.
Like our Pats and Adam West are playing the same character.
Can our Pats be in tights?
I mean,
would love that.
Have you seen the scene they released of him with Catwoman? It's sexy.
Ooh.
It's sexy. They're like fighting and it's like a little sexy.
Ooh. Okay. I'm ready for that.
But that's not the point.
I mean, that's kind of the point.
Who's playing Catwoman in the...
Oh, Zoe Kravitz?
What?
You didn't know that?
Ooh, okay. I like that. Okay.
Dude, and Colin Farrell's playing Penguin, and Paul Dano is playing the fucking Riddler, which, like, if you don't know who that is, in, like, the indie acting world, Paul Dano is, like, he's the dude who's always the best actor in the movie and never gets credit for it. Like, people love him.
That's awesome.
He's going to kill it. This is going to be the thing that makes him, like, iconic.
Huh.
Like, I wouldn't be...
Then you know he's going to give it his all.
I wouldn't be surprised if this Batman movie ended up getting rewards talk, honestly, like, for real. Next year. I mean, you never know, especially with how weird the movies have been lately.
He was in Little Miss Sunshine, right?
Yes, he was.
Okay. I know what you're talking about.
He was also this guy in Prisoners, the movie with Hugh Jackman. You remember that movie, Fran? Prisoners?
I don't think I saw that.
He plays, like, the creepy guy with the glasses.
Oh, I think so, yeah.
He's playing the Riddler.
Okay. Gotcha.
Really good. Anyway, I think we got... What else do we have to say about the Adam West show other than, like...
I've got some things to say.
Okay, let's get to it then.
This is the gayest shit in the world.
You think so?
I literally just expected them to like stop everything. Like the Batman phone just keeps ringing because they're too busy making out.
Dude, it really is like every scene starts like it could be a porno quality moment. Like the scene where he takes the grate off, he's like, "Be careful." It's like, "Oh, you're gonna spank him because he wasn't careful." Like that's how it feels the whole time. They're so sexual in every moment. All the characters. Yeah. The Riddler nearly gets blown by that chick like 4 times.
It feels like they're all swingers.
They're all wearing these weird outfits at night.
Yeah.
They can't find the keys to the Batmobile. It's in like the fishbowl thing.
Oh my God, it's the fishbowl.
There was something I was kind of confused about, and I don't know if I just missed it. Okay, so in the very beginning of the episode, the cake thing, like that, the cake explodes.
Yeah.
Although I will say, usually it's my ass that's exploding after I have cake. But the cake thing, it was for like a weird, like, it was just like a random country having some kind of ceremony. Does that come back? Was that just a random thing?
It comes back. Yes, it does.
Okay.
You find out at the end, the Riddler's trying to make them think that he's going to the bank, but really he goes back to that banquet. And then he doesn't know that Batman and Robin are going to be there, and they hide inside of an elephant.
Okay.
Is that not what happened, Franny? Or am I remembering that wrong?
That's exactly what happened.
And he said a Trojan elephant. Ooh.
A Trojan elephant. They pop out.
Okay, then I missed it. Okay,
I wonder
cool.
what they were doing in that elephant.
Yeah, once you didn't have a big reaction to the mask, I knew you didn't see it because I thought that was going to be the only thing you wanted to talk about.
I'm like really disappointed now.
It definitely like fuels the gayness.
It brings it to a whole nother level. It like brings it to a brand new level. Like he's like really sexual with the Riddler as Burt Ward. Like it's weird.
Well, I guess if you ever want to find out like if your friend's in love with you, just go hide in an elephant for a while.
Yeah, with them.
Just go hide in an elephant.
With tights on.
With tights on.
Oh, and it all boils down to Robin fucked up the riddle the way the Riddler thought he would, but then Batman solved it the right way. So it boils down to Robin's a dumbass.
Huh.
And he needed Big Daddy Batman.
Yeah,
to
basically.
save the day.
Oh, and then when Batman almost drove under the influence, and he was like, "You're right,
oh my
coppers."
God. Okay, so I had 3 notes. And no, I'm sorry, I had 2 notes, and one of them was don't drunk and drive. And then the other one was don't share needles, Robin.
Oh God.
And I just thought it was like really weird how they literally drug Robin and then like the needle's just like hanging off of him like it's attached to the costume when they're dragging him onto like the little gurney
I
thing.
know. Or there's a moment where he's like, let my bat computer in my car solve this, and it has this thing rolling like this conveyor belt, and then when they do a close-up on it, the conveyor belt stopped, and then when they pan back out, it's still going. Like there are so many fuck ups. At one point, the Riddler's duct tape belt literally was off.
Oh, I love it how everything's like something like batarang for the boomerang.
Well, that's one of the most iconic parts of the show. There's bat shark repellent. There's literally bat shark repellent. There's bat retrograde lipstick. There's what was another crazy one? There's the bat boat, which is actually pretty iconic and in tons of episodes in which they wear swim trunks over their suits.
Oh my God, that definitely feels like
porn?
Sharkman fucking
Sharkman?
No, not Shark.
We need to do Peacemaker, unrelated. Just throwing that out there. You reminded me with that ridiculous statement.
It feels like the SpongeBob one. If they have a boat.
Oh, Mermaid Man and
Barnacle Boy.
Barnacle Boy, yeah. I always think it's Aqualad, but that's like DC, so.
Oh, also,
No.
when I was talking to my dad about how we were going to talk about this, he said people would say that they shot the
Dutch angles in the show.
Dutch angles in the show, like for the criminals because they're crooked.
Yeah, like there's always an introductory shot of the villains at some point or another walking through like a corridor at a Dutch angle, and it's to show their crookedness, and that's a set standard in Batman 66 they do in every episode.
Cool.
It's just got like a lot of fun like reincorporations, and it is very like you don't need to watch a certain one, you can tune in whenever. Like you could totally skip around in this, and as long as you get the same part 1 or part 2 episode, like there's always a part 1 and a part 2. But as long as you get the same week, you're good. And like you can jump in whenever. Yeah, I kind of like that too. And that's why also on a couple of weeks ago I put in one of the comments like same bat time, same bat channel. That like line of that same time, same channel became so iconic with the show because they would have to like tell people watch the next day for part 2. Like that was them begging them to come back the next day because they had dwindling views after every part 1 every single time.
I guess that makes sense.
I mean, that does make sense though.
It sucks that they couldn't be like back to back.
Yeah, I know, right? Like a streaming service.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's why Batman flowed for us this time.
Yeah.
I'm sure if I had to wait an entire 24 hours, it's crazy that Cody just thought it was over and just stopped. I think that's insane because it stopped so suddenly.
Yeah.
Well, it says to be continued, and I was like, I remember a lot of shows being like that from the 60s and 70s where they're like, okay, we'll continue the storyline next, and it's just like a quick resolve in the beginning, and then they move on to the next story.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
And so I just figured it was one of those.
Yeah, and I only said it was a 2-parter like one time, so I get why like after like all this planning, like this is the second time we've tried to record this, it just got lost in the jumble. But
or maybe I just watched it blacked out. Who knows?
That's what I honestly probably think, since you remember the go-go line, but it's fine.
Because I remember cackling at the go-go line. Because I was like, this bitch deserved it. She deserved it.
She did. She like jumped in herself. Basically, do you remember that, Franny, when she was like basically like running away and then was just like, I don't trust you, and like jumped into the reactor?
Yeah, she didn't try hard not to fall.
No.
I would say that's not Batman's fault.
No, definitely not. Man, it's just...
He's like, I could have fixed her.
And you know, at one point in time when the Snyderverse first started, they were going to start making Adam West basically like the Stan Lee of DC movies, where he was going to like cameo in all of them. And then he passed away, unfortunately. So
that would have been so cool.
I know, because they don't really have anything like that. And he is like the oldest like bastion of like the detective comics world, because he outlived the older Supermans too. So
wow.
You know, he was the last one. Now Burt Ward's the only one left from that world. And he's like the same height, but just like super fat. I love it.
Good for him.
Would you say you're a Batman or a Robin?
I'm definitely a Batman. 100%.
Yeah, Robin's definitely a bottom.
Franny's like a Batgirl.
Yeah.
Because she like acts all tough, but at the end of the day, like I'm in charge.
That's what I let you think. All right, what about you, Cody?
I mean, I want to say I'm not a Robin, but like I do enjoy a nice Bat Dom Daddy.
You would totally simp for Batman like Robin does.
Oh yeah.
You'd be over there like, holy smokes, Batman.
Oh, you look so good in those tights. I don't know. Maybe Catwoman.
Yeah.
Catwoman's pretty rough in this though. She's like a total cunt in 66. She's just like constantly like being sexy with him and then committing crimes.
Okay.
Good for her.
Catwoman.
She's a 21st century gal.
Maybe one day we'll get into the Green Hornet stuff, and then maybe we could review the big crossover they had, which was a big deal back in the day. So, you know, that's from like the same period, the only other like superhero show that had the exact same setup, and it actually did better at the time. And who ever talks about the Green Hornet now? Like,
no one.
And then there's that one movie.
Yeah, the Seth Rogen movie. Yikes. Mm-hmm. But anyway, what do we rate Batman 66?
You know what? I'm gonna give it a solid 6.
Wow, that's really harsh, actually.
I liked it, but you gotta be ready for it. And
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
That's how somebody gets their bad feelings hurt.
Ooh. I hate you. I was going to say a nice Bat 7.2 because I think it's really great in a group of friends if you were going to watch it and just like have we're going to make fun of this show thing.
Yeah, like a wine night where you watch Batman 66.
Yeah,
talk about how
like
gay it is.
In the right mood, it goes up a lot of points. Like when we watched it, it's like an 8, but like realistically, it's like a 6. But like, it's all about the atmosphere. You got to watch this with friends and have fun.
Yeah, it'd be weird to watch by yourself.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, that's why I can't rate it super high.
That's what you did. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I watched it by myself, and I was like, I knew it was an iconic Batman, like the costume super iconic, and I know Adam West and I know Burt Ward, but like I had never seen it, like actually sat down and watched an episode besides like clips on YouTube. And so watching it, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like,
you don't expect it to be as goofy as it's going to be.
I was going to say, I don't think I was prepared for what it actually is after I've heard so much fanfare around it.
Yeah, I mean, people definitely hype the show up. I'll say that. Like all the vehicles and the boats and the gadgets. You go to a trade show, it's like $100 to take a picture next to one. Like people love this shit. But like realistically, I think the fandom around it now is more representative of like either loving old TV culture or like being so into what Batman has become. I don't really know if somebody could organically find this show who didn't enjoy one of those two things and enjoy it in any capacity.
Yeah.
Like, you either have to love Batman or you have to love old TV. Otherwise, you're going to hate it. Frankly. There's nothing else to grab onto. It doesn't have a lot of depth.
Yeah.
It's like very baseline comedy.
But it's charming. It's got a charm.
It's got hijinks to it. I love like the, like they open up the head of William Shakespeare and they press the button and then the bookcase opens and their poles are labeled, which is ridiculous. Why do they need to label them? They know who goes down what.
No, we need to see the signs.
They're labeled and like in the shittiest way ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally masking tape with Sharpie.
Yeah, exactly. Most of the costumes are that too.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is just so endearing. And I think that's why I rated it like a 7 point.
Yeah, you can tell they had
you
fun.
You can see the magic here. It was a lot of fun to make. Exactly.
Which I do like that there's good spirit behind it.
For me, it's a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
But
I rated it the highest.
Yeah.
Whoa.
No, I think a 7 out of 10 is fair. I just think it's above average of a show of its period.
Yeah.
But also, like, sometimes if I'm going to dedicate time to watching something, I want there to be a little bit of depth. I mean, like, I'm all for, like, escapisms, like daily, like, routine shows, like slice of life shows. But this isn't good enough to be that. You know what I mean? It's not endearing enough. Like, I don't relate enough to Batman for me to watch it, like, as if it's just a part of my routine to watch this.
Yeah.
And it's also, the story's not good enough for me to like want to wrap up and like definitely watch the next episode. It's just somewhere in the middle where it's like fun to look back to and be like, what a period of time. But like entertainment's just gotten better. Like I said, we're going to review Peacemaker, the most recent DC comedy action show, and it's a lot better than this.
Love it.
Okay, cool. We're going to take a quick break and then we're going to do Batman the Animated Series, specifically Heart of Ice.
Hey guys, we're back.
It's been a crazy few minutes, guys. I don't even know what to say.
Make sure your equipment is plugged in before you record.
Mm-hmm.
Message from
and make sure you
Local
advertise
podcast.
shows that exist.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's good.
speaking of shows that existed, will exist, and will continue to exist, Batman the Animated Series.
Here we go.
Guys.
Batman, the Animated Series, is an American superhero animated television series based on the DC Comics superhero Batman. Developed by Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, and Mitch Bryan, produced by Warner Brothers Animation. It aired on Fox Kids from September 5th, 1992 to September 15th, 1995, with a total of 85 episodes. It's also known under The Adventures of Batman and Robin, after its last 20 episodes were titled that. And it is the first in its continuity of shared DC animated universe, and it spawned a lot of spin-offs, animated TV shows, comic books, and video games by the same creative talent.
Yeah, like the Justice League, Batman Beyond obviously is like a huge sequel to this show.
Yeah.
But the reason why we're talking specific, what was that?
I said we should do that one. I
Batman
have
Beyond?
a special place for Batman Beyond.
Yeah, I would love to. I would love to talk about Batman Beyond. I have a lot of thoughts, especially since it looks like the new Batgirl movie is just Batman Beyond, but with Batgirl, with Michael
Oh.
Michael Keaton's going to play old man Batman in this movie about a new Batgirl. It's going to be Batman Beyond, but with a chick. It's awesome. I love it. I can't wait to see it.
Whoa. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, DC, oddly enough, like they made a lot of shit, but they've been whipping up a lot of cool creations. Like they're gonna put Michael Keaton's Batman in the Flashpoint movie with the Ben Affleck Batman too. So
Whoa.
they're doing things over there. I wouldn't be surprised if other multiverse people like Peacemaker, some other Aquaman. I wouldn't be surprised if this new Flashpoint movie wasn't like a Multiverse of Madness kind of ripoff. So I guess we'll see what happens.
I would love to see Peacemaker and more stuff.
Mm-hmm. I know we have to review it, but anyway, but this show is really more about like this was the beginning of people understanding in like a media sense what Batman could really be as a story. Like the only movies that came out before this was the 66 one And then I believe Batman Returns, but I'm not sure. And then the original Tim Burton Batman. So there wasn't a lot of like influences into the modern Batman. And Paul Dini wrote this episode, Heart of Ice, which made the show jump, I think it was 4 times in viewership across the following weeks, because this episode was considered so good.
Wow.
And I mean, this episode became the definitive backstory for Mr. Freeze, who didn't really have a good one in the comics before that. They just accepted this as the backstory. And it was written for this specific episode by Paul Dini, who's now considered, because of the show, one of the best Batman writers of all time, and one of my favorites for sure. So what did you guys think of the episode?
It was a lot of fun. I did not think I'd like this show that much, honestly. But first of all, I must say Batman thick.
Yeah, everybody, the style of the DC multiverse in the early 2000s to the early 90s to the early 2000s was very broad-shouldered heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he's
sticky with the thickness.
He looks like a linebacker. Like, he's thick. But I love to see it. It's so both of the Batman content that we just watched for this episode are so different.
Yeah, this is like so much more gritty, drawn on black paper, has voice talent everywhere from Tara Strong to playing Batgirl to all the way to, Mark Hamill playing the Joker.
Yeah. And it has like deep backstory lore too.
Deep backstory lore, a connectivity between episodes. And like legitimately this episode's well-written content. It was a beautiful story.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, you feel tragically conflicted by what's happened to Mr. Freeze in a way where I feel like that comic character in the past has never been treated any more seriously than just like a common villain.
I like stories that kind of like flip it a little bit, and make you think about like their perspective and everything. I think that's pretty deep for an animated series of Batman, and especially for the time in the 90s.
Yeah, 92, where a lot of these people were getting off of shows like they did the Star Wars Ewoks cartoon, and they worked on the Baby Looney Tunes shows. Like a lot of these people weren't really coming off of anything super action oriented. And you can definitely see the influence that 80s anime had on the 90s Batman show.
100%.
100%. But I think the art style in its own has now become wholly original and something that DC constantly repeats with their DC animated projects. Everything that comes out that's animated that's DC is trying to be Bruce Timm and Paul Dini's Batman animated series. 100%.
It's just so beautiful. Like the blue highlight is iconic, and it's what you associate with this Batman 100%. And yet it has become such a staple for the character over animation. And it was just really cool to see the kind of juxtaposition of how silly and like weird the 66 Batman is. And then you come into like almost this noir. And I thought it was so beautiful that we opened on this like snowy monologue and then we close out on a snowy monologue. And it just, it's so beautifully wrapped and done. And it's awesome with how compelling it is. Cause like you said, like you feel bad for Mr. Freeze and you wish things had played out different. And then also with the billionaire, like there's like, okay, technically he's being wronged, but also he's kind of a huge dick. So
yeah, I mean, definitely.
I really like the way that they're playing with here.
And there's tons of iconic lines like, I would cry if I had tears to shed.
I wish Mr. Freeze had a union.
Mr. Freeze had a union. Maybe that's the real story. It's like, it's pro-union. That's the point of this episode. But no, I mean, this is what because Paul Dini was a writer on the show, as we all know. But this episode and its height is what made him be a more prominent part of the writing process, which eventually led to him creating one of the most iconic characters in the DC world today, Harley Quinn.
Wow.
Was created on this show.
Wow. I want to see that episode.
Back then she was hench girl.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she didn't have an official name till like episode 5 or 6.
Wow, I want to see it.
Let us know in the comments if you want us to see that episode.
Yeah.
There's also
her
a Mad Love episode based on the popular comic where it's like Joker and Harley's like love story. That episode would be a good review for us for like a
that's fun.
Valentine's Day thing or
Yeah.
something next year.
Oh, I love that.
I mean, the show is really great, and even though you talked about the Adventures of Batman and Robin, there's an animation change during that last post of episodes, but they didn't want to fully call it a new show because they wanted to keep a lot of the same people on, and obviously, like, Fox TV and Warner were willing to renew this show as long as they wanted to keep it on TV. I mean, it was killing it. It was on prime time in its first season.
Wow. How many years was
I'm
it?
surprised it was only. Yeah, I'm surprised it was only like 2 or 3 years. It ran until 1995. It was only 85 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Like,
So-
that's so surprising. This is one of the most. This is like what I think of when I think of a Batman animated show.
But they were worried that kids were losing interest in the artistic style of it. So there is an artistic change where a lot of people argue it's not better. People don't like how Joker's eyes turn into black beady eyes instead of the large comic eyes he had before. Like, there's certain changes that they make. But even those last few episodes, there's the Mad Love episode, there's the alternate future episode, there's involvement with like future, like they make Easter eggs for shows that haven't even come out yet for years. There's a Static Shock Easter egg in one of the Batman
What?
episodes. Yes, very subtle. It's a sewer crate that's like all mishapping, and it's got electricity flowing on top of it.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
It's cool that you can tell the people that made the show love the material
Well,
and want to stay towards the source.
and what's interesting about the Paul Dini of it all, and that's who like I really want to talk about when it comes to this show, because he's really the brainchild of all the most iconic stories coming from this. And like I said, Harley Quinn and Dr. Freeze and Mark Hamill's Joker, which was almost who's the guy who plays Rocky Horror? I always forget. Is Tim Curry?
Yeah.
Tim Curry was almost the Joker for a while. But
Oh, really?
he got a Peter Pan show where he was playing Captain Hook. And they couldn't do two villains at one time. Because of some sort of, deal or whatever. But not the point. The Mark Hamill of it all almost didn't happen. And it was, yet again, Paul Dini who was there in the meeting where people were trying out. And he's like, that's the Joker. Like, they're like, that's the fucking Luke Skywalker. He's like, nope, that's the Joker. And now he is the most iconic Joker there has ever been.
Amazing. Wow.
So
What an icon to play both roles.
So all this happens for Paul Dini. Paul Dini wins a Daytime Emmy for Batman the Animated Series. And just a couple of months after that, he's in Los Angeles. And he gets mugged by two guys and almost beat to death. And the night where he's like, the police come and they're like, they're trying to get information. And they're basically saying like the odds of us catching these guys is very low. And then just like they're keeping casual talk with him because he got beaten within an inch of his life and like couldn't
Wow.
walk properly afterward.
Wow.
They said, so what do you do? And he says, oh, I'm a writer. And they're like, well, have you written anything? And he's like, well, have you ever seen Batman? And they're like, I bet you wish he was here tonight. And he was so cynical on Batman, he didn't write another Batman story until he wrote this new book. Or it's not new anymore. It came out in 2016, but he wrote this book called The Dark Knight, where it's the word night, not like nighttime, not like a sword
Yeah.
night. And he wrote it about like his psychological, like everything that was happening in the spiral of his depression and his anger was represented by a Batman villain, but Batman wasn't there to save him.
Wow.
Wow.
So this story, it carries a lot of things.
That's deep.
Where like it also like it has this back knowledge of it where like this Paul Dini guy who believes so much in Batman and wrote a great Batman story for it for a long time till very recently was sour on the idea of ever writing Batman again. And it's good to hear that he wants to do Batman stuff again and he's written stuff since. But it just goes to show you that like there was a point in time where like the canon of Batman the Animated Series, a large part of it was never going to return. And I think that's why another reason it was really special to people, because I love Paul Dini's Batman. He is my definitive childhood Batman that I'd watch every day.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. So shout out to Paul Dini, the best Batman writer there is.
I was shocked I'd never seen it before. Was it just like on TV?
Yes.
Wow.
All the time. And like years in syndication on the WB and Cartoon Network.
Yep.
Every Saturday morning, there was at least a 30-minute block of Batman the Animated Series before Sonic.
Huh, that's awesome.
Or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I watched it on WB all the time, and then I remember it went off and was replaced by Batman Beyond.
And Batman Beyond was great in its own right. I think Batman Beyond was the appropriate update because now these kids were getting older, and instead of seeing Batman as a figure of like, that's the coolest thing ever, we wanted to start relating to characters, and Terry McGinnis was a great intro for that. But we'll review Batman Beyond one day.
Yeah, definitely.
I know nothing about it, so yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into it eventually. But the other big thing I want to say about like this being the childhood Batman and everything is this show is so wholly iconic to tons of people that, like, for instance, there's a popular episode where the Joker replaces everybody's money with fish. And then, as a result, a main villain in Gotham was named Fish Mooney in reference to that specific episode.
Oh, I've heard about Fish Mooney before.
Yeah, Jada Pinkett Smith played Fish Mooney.
Yeah.
We should do Gotham, too. That'd be a lot of fun to review.
Yeah.
Not the
live-action show?
Mm-hmm, the live-action show, yeah.
There's a lot of Batman content.
Did you not know there's a live-action Gotham show?
No, I did. I just forgot about it.
There's a drama called Pennyworth about Alfred.
What?
Yeah, and it's popular too. And I don't know anything else about it other than people watch it.
There's a lot of stuff around this IP. Like, I knew that there was, but it's like a bunch of stuff that I had no idea about.
Yeah, you just keep peeling back more layers and finding out there's more and more stuff. Like, there's The Brave and the Bold, which was another comedy Batman show that was animated with Diedrich Bader that was really beloved by everybody. And then there was later on the the WB Batman show that they made themselves, where they had like a deep voiced, like Rastafarian looking Joker with green dreads. And there's tons of different iterations of Batman in this IP. And I'm very excited that HBO announced an adult level show called Caped Crusader made by Paul Dini and Bruce Timm coming to HBO.
When's that coming out?
I don't know. It was announced like 3 months ago.
And it's going to be about Batman?
Yeah, it's a Batman. It's called Caped Crusader. It's another Batman show, but it's for adults.
I like that.
And it's live action, right?
No, it's a cartoon.
Okay, I like that. Okay. I'm excited.
I was kind of worried about the idea of Paul Dini and like an actual like live action show.
No, it's an animated, and there's actually a picture out of the Batman, and he's got very bat ears in this one. So I'm excited to see. I think that Paul Dini's going to involve his love of anime in this creation and make it very action-packed.
Oh, I'm excited. Because
it looks very edgy and anime-like in like the one still that they put out. And then he also wrote the podcast on HBO. There's a Batman serial podcast where it's like a story told like kind of like an audiobook. Yeah. It's 6 episodes. Paul Dini helped write that. It's on HBO. It's really good too.
Huh.
Wow.
But he's back is my point. And I think with him back and a live action Batman back, like we're done with talking about Batman being squandered by Zack Snyder. We're done talking about him being side characters in stories. Like he sees Spider-Man becoming the new zeitgeist, and Batman's like, nope, it's my turn. I'm going to do it instead. And I'm here for the fight for it. I want to see what becomes the bigger franchise right now. Because now we're moving away from team pictures. Avengers ended. Justice League failed. Guardians is ending. Let's get back into these single great stories that are not concerned with starting an interconnected universe. And that's what this Caped Crusader show is going to be. That's what this Batman movie is going to be.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts about the Heart of Ice episode? Sorry, I went on a total tangent there.
You're all good. I was just going to say, I'm happy that Paul Dini's getting work again because he's going to have to pay for the lawsuit. So my brother had the Batmobile from the animated series, this show.
I heard about this. I've heard about this.
I was 3 months old, and my brother dropped it on my head.
Yep. You told me that he dropped a Batmobile on your head before.
Oh my gosh.
And not to get like too personal, I've had some health issues recently, and my doctor asked me very recently,
are you connecting those two?
Yeah, literally. He said, did you have head trauma maybe when you were under a year old? Because this could stem from like that far back. And I was like, holy shit, did my brother drop a Batmobile on my head and just fuck up my life?
Oh my God, maybe.
Because that would have been,
So,
and it would have been that Batman too, because it was 1992 Batmobile. But also at the time, I don't think there was enough synergy for it to be Paul Dini who had any say in that. Maybe Bruce Timm.
Yeah.
But really, Warner Brothers
You should sue somebody.
Yeah, Warner Brothers. We'll talk.
All jokes aside, Warner Brothers, we're not like
No.
alleging that we will start any lawsuit against you. Sorry.
No, we will not. We will not. We love you.
But like, if you want to hit us up on Patreon,
Yeah.
anybody out
Warner
there,
Brothers, if you just feel bad for us,
yeah,
which you might, especially
Yeah.
with how excited I am about your Batman stuff, maybe you could give me $1.
Yeah. Or if you would like to pay for my upcoming health issues, thank you.
Or give Cody $1.
just one.
Yeah, or two. I'll take two. I want to know Franny's thoughts on this episode because, I mean, I personally really liked it. And I just want to know where she's at with like the Batman thing. Because I know like not all superhero like action stuff is your thing.
Yeah, this was fun, but yeah, this stuff isn't normally like the thing I gravitate to for first. But I'm glad I watched it, and I could see myself watching it again. It's a lot of fun. I like that it has some levity to it, even though it is more of a serious story. And I really like the art style and the black paper, like Logan already mentioned.
Yeah, the
That's
black
always
paper is cool. The music's great.
Yeah, it was fun. Good time.
I love that. What did you guys think of the voice of Mr. Freeze?
I liked his take. I felt like it was necessary.
Yeah.
I think pretty much all the voice talent on the show is top tier. Even though they reuse a lot of the same voice actors, I feel like everybody here is like giving a lot of effort. Especially as you go on further with the Mark Hamills and the Tara Strongs of it all, like, or even I can't remember the chick who voiced Harley Quinn, but it was one of her first voice acting jobs, and she just had an interesting voice, so they put her on it.
That's
very
awesome.
like, what's Shug and Joker, me, like one of those like naggy ass voices. You know, Mr. J and all that shit. That's where that all comes from, is this performance. That's where the entirety of the character comes from, is that actress's performance and Paul Dini's writing. That is what Harley Quinn came from. That's
so cool that this is the source material.
I hope he got paid fat checks for that Birds of Prey movie, or
I'm sure he
at
did.
least the Suicide Squad movies. I hope he got some fat checks for that. I hope Margot Robbie gave him a hug.
Yaw.
Like, thank you for saving my career.
Literally.
Okay. Well, anyway, so what do you rate the episode?
I rate the episode, I would give it like an 8.5. It was a lot of fun.
Story was heavy.
Yeah, the story was heavy, but it was fun, and it was captivating, and I liked, like we said, seeing like where it all began. In a way, even though I guess it didn't really begin here, but this is Batman I'm more familiar with.
I mean, the thing with Batman too is like, this is where a lot of the more current ideas of Batman come from. Like, this is one of the first things where it also stressed, like, I don't kill people. Yeah. Like, one of the first physical, like, you know, like moving medias, you know, a movie, they move around. Like, this is one of the first animations or live actions where it's like Batman definitely does not kill people. Because he sort of killed people in those Tim Burton movies. And then he killed people in those Joel Schumacher movies. Didn't kill people in the Christopher Nolan movies, except for indirectly. And the newest Batman, the Zack Snyder Batman, caps motherfuckers. So, but the agreed opinion on Batman is that he doesn't kill people. And it's because this show is the thing that sticks out as so iconic. And the comics themselves, obviously. But this show is one of the closest iterations.
I'm excited to see what the R-Pats one's going to be, because of like how it's been marketed as being such a dark storyline. I wonder if it's going to be similar to like Joker.
It's 3 hours long. I mean, the movie's 3 hours long.
3 hours long?
Yeah,
I need to bring like
long.
a pee bucket or something.
And I was like, we need intermission.
And it's got Paul Dano, you're gonna need to let him chew a lot of scenery as Riddler in order to pay off that performance. You got Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon. It's like,
I'm just really excited to see Robert Pattinson as,
and Zoe Kravitz. Buck.
Definitely.
And it's year 2, and he says, and like Matt Reeves said, he based it on Hush. Long Halloween, a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff. But the main thing he wanted was no origin story, no ending story. This is in the middle
Just what it
somewhere,
is,
which is
yeah.
what we fucking need from a solo Batman
Yeah.
film already. There's too much
that.
creed and self-importance in a lot of these Batman movies.
Mm-hmm.
I want one where it feels like I'm almost jumping into a side quest.
Yeah.
I just want to start an
I love
adventure and not worry about how it's going to end or how it's going to continue. Like, I don't even know. I mean, I'm sure if this makes a gajillion dollars like it's going to, they'll be like, Pats, you're doing another one.
And I'm glad you can just kind of
Yeah.
jump in, because that's what stops people from going and seeing like Marvel and stuff sometimes. 'cause
Exactly.
It's such a big time commitment. This is just like,
That's what
Well,
the
I mean,
industry
this
is
is a
going to
big-
turn into.
yeah.
It's going to turn into whose content is the most digestible.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this is where DC's starting to win now, because the issue with the rich history of the MCU is that every single time you make something new, you might be fucking with a dynasty of something you've already
Yeah.
made. One slip up and one really bad movie, like the Inhumans show was, could potentially ruin the opinion of the franchise,
Yeah.
like it did with like the Terminator movies and other shit like that. Except it's on such a bigger scale, because it's like 28 movies.
What would you rate this pilot?
Oh, I would say it's like a 9 out of 10. It's not a pilot, but I mean, it could act as the pilot. You can
Yeah.
jump in on Batman anywhere.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a 9. I feel like it's because I know there are episodes that are better, and that's why it's not a 10, but I feel like it's really fucking great.
I'm really excited to watch more of it now.
Yeah, I'd love for you to see like some of the best Joker episodes.
Yeah. Like, I don't think I want to watch all of it, but like here and there, I'll watch a couple episodes.
Yep, or like watch Joker get cucked in the
Yeah.
Poison Ivy episode where they have a sleepover and make him like he has to like make them pizza
I
and
love
like
that.
is wearing like a kiss the chef
love
apron
that
and getting cucked by them as they're fucking upstairs. It's crazy.
Good.
It's a real episode too. It's like legit. It's crazy. It's Black-Eyed Joker, so I think it's in like the last season. Anyway,
I love it.
so I think that's pretty much all we have to say about it, right? I mean, I don't think we should talk about who we're
Yeah.
gonna fuck, and I think we all know who we are.
Yeah. We're all
I agree.
Batman.
Yeah, we're all Batman.
Everybody's Batman.
Mhm.
Where can they
Where can
find?
you find you guys? Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. It's just jinx.
YouTube.com/a pilot podcast. And then you guys
Nice.
have a whole nother channel that you guys are doing. I mean,
Yes, Cody?
I can talk about your channel if you want.
I was
but-
giving Cody the chance.
Okay, I can talk about it. Yeah, so we have a Let's Play channel. Right now we're doing a Pokemon Diamond Nuzlocke on the Team Hyperfang channel with me and Logan, and we've got some upcoming stuff we're really excited about.
We're having a fun adventure with a bunch of little critters.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna
Yeah.
love them and their little personalities.
It's some good content. I like to watch it, and sometimes I get to watch it live. Exclusive for just me.
And speaking of critters, I make Critical Role content over on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/clblue official. And I make videos every Saturday. And then I have an album called Scorpio. It's out now.
And for me, I have my own channel, youtube.com/Logan Tyler. I post clips, interviews, stuff like that over there. You can check that out.
Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for when you're able to watch live, or not live, but like
Watch
you'll be
the
able to
video.
watch
Yeah,
the
so
video.
we'll get into specifics about how all that's
Yeah.
going to be posted in the future, but just know that we're going to try to have our next thing be when we do the video, unless some circumstances come up, but that's what we're going for. So
We're really trying.
be on the lookout for the YouTube channel, youtube.com/pilot podcast, if you want to see the video of us sitting there and talking about whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Love y'all. Talk to you later.
Pilot podcast.